Most new investors in the fix and flipping world treat finding deals like looking for needles in a haystack. They scroll through Zoom for hours and hours on end. They call random for sell by owner signs as they're driving by, and they just pray that a profitable house will just somehow magically fall into their lap. Well, that's really not investing. That's gambling. I'm Ryan G. Wright, the CEO of The Investor's Edge. I've been a fix and flip entrepreneur since 2000, and today I'm going to show you that we don't look for needles in a haystack. We use a magnet, and I'm going to show you how. So in this video, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you exactly how I use data to find off-market deals that nobody else is really seeing. We're going to use the Investor's Edge software to filter for what's called involuntary liens, but we're going to mesh that with high equity. The two big indicators of motivated seller is they have equity and motivation. And I'm going to virtually walk you through the property to spot some of the deal killers or things to think about. And then we're going to open up our Rehab calculator to show you how to budget the renovation down to the penny so you know your profits before you ever make an offer on the property. So if you're tired of guessing and you want to see how pros build a deal from scratch, pull up a chair and let's get to work. Okay, so step one, what we're going to be doing is some searching. We're going to be searching for that shadow inventory, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. So let's get all logged in. This is my dashboard, and this is the Investor's Edge software. And so in here we have over 160 million records of real estate data. You know, most people, they just see a map, okay? What I see is opportunity and lots of it. So lots of beginners will come in here and just say, hey, what's actually on the market? What's listed on the MLS right now? They want to see what's actually listed because they can then talk to an agent and do those things. And while there are some strategies that work like that, I'm going to tell you stop doing that for now because this really is buying things retail off the MLS. And that is not what you want to do to get 100% financing. Also, it's a real Shark Tank out there. With the MLS, stop doing that. The MLS is a retail market. It is a Shark Tank. So what we're looking for is what's called shadow inventory. These are homeowners who need to sell but haven't listed the house yet. So what we're first going to do is set some filters. So we're going to clear all. We're going to come here to filters, okay? And now watch what I'm doing here because I'm going to open up the motivated seller tab, okay? So we're going to jump here to motivated sellers. We're going to come here. The way we're going to do that is we are going to come here to property details first. And you can do this for anything, but I just want residential. I just want single family. Maybe you want condos, townhouse. The same things apply to all of this. And then I also want to make sure I really like things that are 4 bedrooms plus and have at least 2 bathrooms or have the ability. So I'm going to put it at 3 and 2 just to make sure. Besides that, that's pretty much everything I want other than I'm going to come down. I want to make sure that the value is not like crazy. So I don't really like to do deals that are over $500,000 and I don't like to do deals that are under $150,000. Now, that could be different for everybody. I mean, you may want, depending upon where you live, where you're investing, those types of things. So we kind of just do something like that, just to get the feel. So these are all search filters. The next thing I'm doing here is I'm going to estimated equity, and I want to make sure they have a minimum of 30% equity, or I don't even want to see it. Okay, so this search tells me that they have 30% or more equity is what we are estimating. It also tells me that it's worth somewhere between $100,000 and $500,000. It's got 2 bathrooms or more, 3 bedrooms or more, single family, residential, and this is in the Atlanta area. I could get even more detailed if I wanted to and put in like a city or a zip code or something like that to get it more detailed, but not necessary. Okay, now the next thing we're looking for is we are looking for motivation. Now, there's lots of things you can do for motivation, and we've got several of them here. Auction properties, divorce, high equity, probate, liens, and these are all preset filters, so they're really easy to find. The one I want to show you today is actually liens, and there's this thing called involuntary liens. Okay, so I want to include stuff that has involuntary liens. Okay, let's just show all utilities, taxes, whatever the case is. And I want a lien where the minimum amount is $5,000. And I want something, I can go for a time frame or, okay. So, and we'll put in here Atlanta, Georgia, just to kick it all off and start getting things ready. Okay. I'm not just coming in here and looking for vacant, because vacant doesn't mean motivated. I apply two specific filters. Number one, equity. I want sellers with 30% or more equity. If they don't have equity, I can't really do a flip with them, so I'm wasting my time, my money. The next thing we're gonna look at is involuntary liens. Now, this is really the secret sauce. A voluntary lien is a mortgage that you chose to put on the property. You signed it and said, yes, lien my property. An involuntary lien is one where you didn't say, put it on my property. It's where they put it on your property because you owed them the money. This could be a tax lien, a mechanics lien, a judgment. This means somebody else is forcing them into a financial conversation because they owe, the owner of this property owes somebody else the money, and that becomes an involuntary lien, which tells me these people are in a distressed situation if they're not able to pay that. Now, with that, I also look at involuntary liens that are over $5,000, because if it's a few $100 voluntary lien, I think that most people can figure that out. But when it comes to $5,000 or $10,000, $5,000 is a lot of money. And I think the average person is going to have a hard time figuring that out. And so they're in a financial situation. Boom. We just filtered this. So I also put in some other classifications which aren't necessary, but I did this for my own personal benefit: residential, single family, 3 beds, 2 baths. Lien amount of 5,000. These are the types of liens. We want them with liens, 30% or more. And I like to invest in houses that are somewhere between 100,000 and 500,000. Guess what? There are 3,830 properties as of the time of this recording that meet that exact description. Look, we just filtered out all this noise. We filtered it out and we found these deals from the millions of properties. We've actually found some of these. So the other thing I'm going to put on here is I don't want stuff that's listed on the market. So I'm going to do off market only, and that's going to take me down. So I've got this many properties to take a look at. So let's just pick one on random. I don't know. Let's just do this one. Let's go to details. Okay. So we're checking out this property. Okay. It's 3 bedrooms. It's 2 bathrooms. We think the estimated value is around 464 to 523. That's basically what it was, what we were looking at last year, and kind of what we're estimating. We'll dig into that to verify it. They owe $300,000 on the property, and there's actually 2 involuntary liens for $9,600. So they owe 305 plus the 9, we'll call it 10,000. So they owe 315, and it's valued somewhere between 464 and 523. This is an estimate as well. Okay. So this seller has 2 involuntary liens for a total owed of $9,673. Okay. Now this could be whatever they owe or whatever's owed against it. So this person that owns this property has a problem. They have a problem because they have this involuntary lien that could come and take over this property. They're literally at risk of losing their home, and they're at risk of losing their home for pennies. They wouldn't even get any money in this type of a situation. Now, the good news is this is a problem we can solve. I'm going to save this property and move it into my analysis folder. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and I am going to, come here, I'm gonna hit save. I mean, I can put categories and all that type of stuff, but I'm just gonna, Okay, create new. I have too many test groups, guys, but we'll save this one into test, okay? So we've saved this one property, okay? Step 2, we're going to talk about the qualifying. We're going to show you this desktop analysis, how we basically come to the conclusion. So before we go drive to the home, I really want to verify the value. So The software says it's worth 464 to 523, but I don't want to trust logarithms blindly, although it's the industry's most accurate software. I'll add another layer of my own validation to look at that. So what I'm looking for is properties that have sold recently. So I'm going to come over here to comparables and comparable listings. With this, I am going to look for properties that sold within a half mile to a mile. I mean, it depends. If we need more properties, we'll extend this, but right now it's at a half a mile. And we're looking at things that recently sold. This is in the last year. We'll go back 6 months and look at what's there. Okay, so we're a half a mile. We're 6 months back. Yeah, so the next thing I want to do is look at single family and residential because I don't want to be comparing it with townhouses. So I'm 250 all the way up to 530. Let's take a look at that first one for 250, single family house, but I can look here and this property is gutted. This needs a ton of work. This property sold for 250,000. Okay. Next property that we're going to look at. This property sold. Well, let's take a look at the property itself. Okay. This property looks like it's in good shape. Now, this is not remodeled. This is not a new kitchen. So it's got kind of old cabinets and those things, but this is nice. I call this an FHA property. This is something you could buy, you could move into, but it's not, doesn't have all the great stuff that's been done to that. This property sold for 374. Okay. So let's go to the next one. 901, 374. Okay. It looks like that got recorded twice. Okay. So now we're jumping in and seeing some properties in the 500s. So let's get a good look here. Okay. This is where you're looking at stuff like new tiled bathrooms. You see there's new concrete, 2-car garage. Yeah, new deck. I think this is where, yes, you can see the casings are new. You see the kitchen's new. It's got white kitchen cabinets. So you can see there's a big difference. We've got the granite countertops. This is where we start getting into properties that are fixed up, and you see the price jumps drastically on that. I'm not sure what that's a picture of, but so yeah, this is going to be one that I'm interested in. I'm going to use as a comparable, right? So you can see here, these guys financed it for 510. That's what they bought it for. Let's go look at another one. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This one sold. Or transaction history. Let's go look and see. The loan amount was 335. That's not what it sold for. Sold for 520. It's on the market 55 days. And here we're looking at a remodeled property, right? This is where we're getting into a remodeled property. You can see the pictures here. You can see these are not old cabinets, they're new. You can see the tiles good. I mean, this is we're talking new properties, okay? So I've got this property that sold for, what did this one sell for? 520. I've got this one that sold for 510, and I've got this one. This one's 374. I'm not even going to use that one. So I'm going to see, I really want to see 3. So this is 920 Stallings. Let's go to this one and take a look at this one. First off, we'll look at some photos. Oh yeah, this is obviously fully remodeled. This is a nice house, fully remodeled. This is what we want our house to look like when it's done. You can get a good feel for everything there. So what we're gonna do is come to MLS details. This sold for 525. Okay, so I've got my lowest remodeled property sold for 510. My next one sold for 520. And my next one sold for 525. So somewhere between 510 and 525 is how much I'm going to be able to sell this property for, is what I'm estimating, as long as it's the same. So 510 to 525. That is what I think my resale price is going to be. So I want to see renovated homes to know the after repaired value, also known ARV. Once our properties fix up in that same condition, should sell somewhere between 510 and 525. So what would I need to buy this property at in order to make money doing this deal? Well, the next thing we need to do is a little bit of an audit of this property to come up with an idea of how much rehab is going to be. So I'm going to come back here to the subject property. Okay, so this is the subject property. So you can see this property's remodeled. This property's in good shape. It's got great countertops. It's got new kitchen cabinets. It's got all of that. So this is one that's not going to need a ton of work. Now they're typically, I want to do something that's going to need a lot of work, but I can also do deals like this when somebody's motivated and they need to unload the property. Looks like this one doesn't have a garage, so we'd have to make some. Looks like it's going to need some work on the driveway. So there's some things that need to be done to this, but not a huge remodel is what this one's looking like. So step 3 is the physical audit. So I think the numbers look good on the screen. I mean, we're talking pretty minimal for the amount of work that needs to be done. Let's jump in here and use our tools, our rehab calculator, to determine the costs that we're going to have to make this property in the condition that we need it to be. Okay, so I put the information in here: 3 beds, 2 baths, and what's the square? Let's start here. 3 beds, 2 baths, 0 half baths. Living square footage on this is 1546. 1 story, and it's built, let's see, year built is 1947. Okay, next. Okay, we'll just go next. Close on this. So let's estimate a new project. Let's go. Okay, so search by popular projects. We know this is going to need a driveway, so we'll look at that. This needs a new driveway. And let's do 2-car concrete. And this is exterior of home. Add to the estimate. We can get rid of some of these if we're not doing bathrooms or anything. This will give you an idea. So the driveway, exterior grounds, somewhere between, exterior grounds, 2,855, 9,000. We find this is somewhere in between the two. This is a DIY price and this is a contractor's price. Obviously, we don't allow for DIY pricing, so you'll want to be using close to the contractor, but usually somewhere in between here. So let's search by popular projects. What else needs to be done to this specific house? Actually, it's this house. Just kind of looking through all these. Obviously we do a thorough cleaning, wipe down, do all that type of stuff. The floors look good, although when we bring all this stuff up, we might find that it actually needs some flooring done. So let's just come here to flooring, and let's go to hardwoods, and we're gonna say, hey, we're not gonna replace solid wood, veneer, replace. Replacement flooring with veneer, and we want good quality on this. And this would be in the family room. Add that to the estimate as well. And that's going to tell us how much that family room is going to cost to get that done. Flooring, somewhere between 800 and 1643. Let's just do this by, popular projects. And what else needs to be done on this? So, that flooring looks a lot better than the flooring that we saw earlier, but we're on the wrong property. Whoops. Okay, so you can see this flooring looks like it could probably use some work. I probably would do that. We'll know more when we actually get in the property. The countertops look good. The appliances look good, so I'm not really going to worry about that. So you can see the flooring. So it looks like the kitchen needs some work on the flooring as well. So we'll do flooring, and we're gonna do hardwoods, and we're gonna do the kitchen, and we're gonna do good quality. So we'll add that as well. I mean, you could maybe use a front door. Let's go back up here. Yeah, I mean, I have to look at that in person, but let's just say that it needs a new door. Doors, front door, single door, and we're gonna do good quality, so we'll add that on here as well. Let's just keep going and seeing what else we can find. We may need to do some hardwoods in there. I could add that as well. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna need some more hardwoods. Tile looks great. Don't see any problems there. This looks good in the family room or in the walk-in closet. This looks great. Tile on the floor looks great there. You know, these floors are just bugging me everywhere, so I think I'm just gonna say we're gonna replace all the floors. Definitely need some landscaping, needs to look a lot better. Okay, we already have the driveway. So I'm gonna come back here and go, let's go back. Oh, whoops, we did that. Let's do entire house. Whoops, popular projects, I hit the wrong button. Flooring, next, hardwoods, next. So, bedroom, and then we'll do in the bedroom, and then we're going to do the same thing. Whoops. We'll come the same thing. We'll do flooring. I could do the whole thing if I set it up, and we're going to come here to hardwoods, and we're going to do the bathroom. Well, the bathroom doesn't need it. We'll do the other bedroom, and we'll do good, and we'll put that in the other bedroom. So, okay, so this is just adding these items. So we'll come over here to a project report. This is going to show us we're basically somewhere around materials is going to run about 6,000. Materials and labor is going to run about 15,918. So I'm planning on about $15,000 in repairs. Now I really want to have some cushion there, so I'm going to put $20,000 as my repair budget. We've checked out those pictures, and so we have a really good idea of what we're looking at. We want to make sure this deal isn't a lemon. The kitchen looks really good to me. So I'm not budgeting anything for the kitchen. I mean, obviously we've got in there and found some problems, then we would deal with that. But it's got the nice granite countertops. It's got the white shake cabinets. It's got the stainless steel appliances. Exactly what I'd want to see in something like this. So no gut job needed on this at all. The real thing we're looking at is mostly the flooring and obviously some landscaping that would need to be done as well. So step 4 is the rehab budget. So this is going through the calculator and figure out exactly what needs to be done. And we get these numbers precise, $15,918.19. The Investor's Edge Rehab calculator knows the exact cost of repairs in your zip code, so you know what will be the exact cost of those repairs with materials and with labor. So basically what we're looking for here is we're going to replace the flooring in the bedroom. We're gonna prep to get it ready, installing the new wood flooring. Same thing in the veneer. We're doing the same thing in the other bedroom. In the entire house, we're replacing the front door. We're exterior grounds. We've got concrete slab that's going in, wire mesh, landscape, some general stuff. This doesn't include this is just the landscaping for the concrete. We should add some landscaping for the rest of the house as well. Replace the kitchen veneers. So we're coming in here. So we could go back to the project editor and add the landscaping if we wanted to. But at the end, you've got the idea here, 15,918. One of the things I like to do is add a 15% contingency for the unknowns. That's why we rounded this up from the 16,000 to the 20,000 just to be safe. So we have a number in case something actually comes up, and we'll know what we need to put into this house. So next is step 5 is the financial audit, where we're looking at the profit. So this is the moment of truth, guys. Does this deal actually work? So what we're going to do, this is our advanced deal analysis tool. I'll just pretend like this is me. I've got to enter the zip code 30316. 30316. And how did I find this? Code violation. It's not a code violation, it's an involuntary lien, but fix and flip, lowest out of pocket. Okay, projected purchase price is what we're going to determine here. So the current market value of the property is, after repaired value, somewhere here between the 515. So I'm going to put 520. And then the repair cost is going to be 20,000. Days on market for the city, we can come back here and kind of get an idea. And we'll come up here. Days on market for a 3-bedroom is 86 days. So we can just plug in 86 days here. Current market value of the home, I don't know, I'll put 420. Actually, let's come back and see what this is saying, 464. So I've got to put in a purchase price. I don't know what I'm buying it for yet, but I'm going to estimate something. So the easiest way to do this is just use that 70% rule. So 70% of what the after repaired value will be. So on this house, they owe $31,000. So if I could come back here and I could get it for 275, calculate that up. And zero cash to close. So it looks like on this deal, I can make $132,000. I could get the purchase, the rehab, the closing costs all put in there if I can negotiate and get that deal at that price. Well, we didn't guess on the value. We used actual comps, and we didn't guess on the rehab because we used an actual calculator. We also didn't guess on what to offer them because we use the advanced deal analysis. This isn't luck, it's a system. We found the system using shadow inventory. We qualified it with the calculator, and now we fund it because this deal fits the advanced deal analysis rules. My lenders at the Investor's Edge will fund up to 100% of the purchase and 100% of the rehab and even the monthly payments for the first 5 months. So if you want to get your hands on this software, the Deal Finder, the Rehab Calculator, the Advanced Deal Analysis, I have a free training that breaks it all down. All you've got to do is click in the link in the description below. Stop gambling. Start analyzing. I'm Ryan G. Wright, and I will see you on the next deal.